I was driving back to my hometown to spend the holidays with my parents. Ever since I started working, I had moved to another city. As I drove along an empty, desolate road, I spotted a rundown bar on the side of the road. A sign outside said, "Free drinks for all." Feeling thirsty, I thought I'd stop in for a drink. So I pulled over and stepped inside the bar. There weren't many people inside, just a man sitting at the bar. The bartender was mixing drinks behind the counter. I walked up to the bar and noticed something strange. The two of them exchanged a mysterious glance. Something felt off. I sat down and ordered a drink. The man at the bar suddenly stood up to leave. I glanced over at him. He was staring right at me, with a sinister smirk on his face. Our eyes met briefly before he walked out the door. I asked the bartender, annoyed, "What's up with that guy?" The bartender shrugged, uninterested. "I don't know. He came in right before you did." That's when it hit me. The road outside was completely empty, and he left right after I arrived. Was he planning something? Maybe steal my car? I rushed outside to check. Sure enough, my car was gone. That guy must have stolen it. I ran back into the bar to tell the bartender, asking him to check the security cameras, but the look on his face, it was like he already knew this was going to happen. A sick feeling twisted in my stomach. Could they be working together, using the promise of free drinks to lure in drivers and rob them? Just as that thought crossed my mind, the bartender lunged at me, grinning wickedly. A chilling thought crept into my mind. Could the bartender and that man be working together, using the promise of free drinks to lure in unsuspecting drivers, only to rob them blind or worse? Just as I had that terrifying realization, the bartender lunged at me, his face twisted into a sinister grin, like everything was going according to plan. I spun around and bolted for the door, my heart racing. It felt like I had been running for hours, but it had only been a few minutes. I glanced back over my shoulder. I glanced back in panic. He was right on my heels. Suddenly, I spotted a police car up ahead. An officer was sitting in the driver's seat. Frantically, I waved and shouted, trying to get his attention, but he was too focused on his radio, oblivious to me. Before I knew it, the car drove away, leaving me behind. I turned again, expecting him to have caught up. To my relief, he had disappeared. I let out a shaky breath, feeling a brief sense of safety. But when I looked forward again, there they were, standing right in front of me, as if out of nowhere. That same eerie, bone-chilling smile stretched across their faces. I had no choice but to run again, but they chased relentlessly. After a few more minutes, my legs gave out. I was exhausted, and they caught me. They clamped a hand over my mouth, dragging me off to who knows where. Everything started fading away. In the distance, I heard the faint sound of sirens. The two men panicked and dropped me, fleeing into the night. A few seconds later, I thought I saw police officers running toward me. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was at my parents' house. The police were in the living room, talking to my mum and dad. As I walked in, one of the officers looked at me and said, "Those two who stole your car and tried to attack you, they escaped from a nearby mental institution to mental patients." With that level of planning and cunning, guess you learn something new every day.